Hello, hello.
Good evening, good evening. Sunday night, and it's Sunday night Satsang with John and Michelle. We missed you last week. We were away and we didn't get back to a place where we could speak to you in time. So we apologize for last week, and it's really great to be back with you again tonight.
Good to have you with us.
Yes.
A little bit early.
Yeah. Tonight we're going to be talking about creative power.
Yeah, it's a nice month.
Yeah, creative power. Yeah. And that's in alignment with the astrology for the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Creative power.
As we enter August.
Creative power. So, welcome everyone, and we love to know who we're talking to. And so if you can just say hello to us in the comments box and tell us where you're from. And yeah, we love getting those hearts. Thank you for the hearts.
Yeah, they come up on our little screen. So it's cool.
Thank you for that. Yeah. So let's do the important work of the evening, which isn't work, and that's to center ourselves. Shall we do that? So just settle back wherever you are. Make quite sure you're comfortable and that you've possibly made arrangements not to be disturbed for the next little while. And gently close your eyes as we enter into Satsang. Take a deep breath in and draw the air right the way down your body, so you're really anchoring your awareness into your body, into the here and now. And then as you breathe out, just relax your shoulders and drop all the stories that you've been carrying with you today. Let it go. Take a second, very deep breath in, drawing the air right the way down to your toes this time. And as you breathe out, relax your neck muscles, shoulders, and withdraw your mind from all other times and all other places. And just become anchored in the present moment, in the sacred essence of here and now. Just here and now. And just feel what it feels like to anchor your awareness in your body. We take another very deep breath into our body, blowing our tummy up like a big balloon, drawing the air down, and then the lovely, long, relaxing, surrendering breath out. Just let it all go, let it all go, let it all go. And as you breathe out, just sink deeper into your chair, or wherever you're sitting, and just become very relaxed. In this moment, there is nothing you need to concern yourself with. Just align your awareness fully with what it's like, what it feels like to have a body right now. I know the body's been with you the whole day, but let's honor it with our attention right now. Let's become aware of our feet, possibly resting on the floor. Becoming aware of your hands, possibly resting on your lap. Becoming aware of your bum on the chair, the backrest supporting your back. Become aware of the air in the room as you take it into your lungs and breathe it out. Become aware of everything you can hear. Without labeling or judging, just listen very intently to everything you can hear in this moment. And as you do that, you notice how much quieter you become on the inside, how much stiller you become. So we've just given you three keys to Satsang. One key is body awareness, being aware of your body. The other key is to focus on your breath and making the out-breath possibly longer than your in-breath, more important than the in-breath. For the out-breath is the surrender, it's the letting go. And the third key is listening. In order to truly listen, we have to become very still, very quiet. So those three keys are very powerful portals into peace. Just become aware of the stillness that underlies your awareness right now, that underlies listening and feeling and thinking. This stillness is your authentic self, your real self. It doesn't have gender or age, doesn't have concerns, doesn't have history or future. It's just aware, just pure beingness. Connect in this moment with that still essence of being. We are human beings, and we pay far too much attention to the human side and not enough to the being side. So just for a few moments, let's fully concentrate our awareness and our attention on just being here and now, present. Relax any worry lines on your forehead. Release any tension in your jaw. Drop any tension or stress in your shoulders. Relax your spine and your hips. Soften your thigh muscles and calf muscles. And relax your feet and your toes. Just bring your awareness now to the tips of your fingers and relax your whole hands. Relax your thumb, your fingers, the palm of your hands, your wrists. See how heavy they become, how soft. You can notice any thoughts that drift through your awareness. Just allow them to float through you. Don't hold on to them, don't follow them. Just be aware of the thoughts. Be aware of the awareness of the thoughts. Listening, breathing, and being aware of the body on the chair. Now just bring your awareness into your hearts. Bring your awareness at the same time into your solar plexus. The solar plexus is normally associated with a yellow energy. So just bring that yellow energy into your awareness, your heart, possibly maybe a green energy, color of life. And just bring the two together. Bring your power into your heart and feel your heart opening and radiating an energy into the world, an energy of light, an energy of love, an energy of peace. And as you feel this energy radiating from your heart into the world, add the vibration, the frequency, and the color of joy to that outpouring of love from your heart. Feel it as an energy of connection to all that's good in the world. Let's feel our frequency becoming lighter, more joyful. And we say a quiet prayer of gratitude for being on earth at this extremely auspicious time, this time of incredible transformation. The frequencies, the vibrations coming into the earth at the moment of a very high frequency, and we're able to transcend the old karma, transcend the old patterns that have kept us in chains, linking us to an old world. And this frequency of light, this frequency of love, is now pouring into the earth and dissolving those chains, and we're able to feel this joy and this light in our hearts as we connect to this new energy, this higher energy, and this creative energy. So we say thank you, because the vibration of gratitude aligns us with the highest frequency. And feel this gratitude in your heart as you feel this radiance of love. Love for those in your family, for your friends, for your community, but also for every single human on earth. And we include all life forms. We feel a connection to Mother Earth and all of her abundance. And we say thank you. Thank you for being guided here tonight. And thank you for this incredible protection which we have around us at all times. Thank you. It is so. Thank you. Now let's take another very deep breath in, drawing this breath of life into our bodies, down to the toes and up to the top of our head, so we're really filling our whole body up with this joyful new breath. And then that lovely long releasing breath out, letting it all go, letting everything go. And when you are ready, you may gently, very softly open your eyes and just see how you feel in this moment. How do you feel? Thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, John. That was lovely.
Thank you.
Hope you all had a good Sunday. Nice to be with you again on this Sunday evening.
And what's happening in the stars at the moment?
Well, we're kind of in between, but we're headed towards a new moon on the 8th. It's called the Lion's Gate Portal because there's all sorts of beautiful alignments happening, and a lot of people say it's a very, very powerful
Why
time.
Lion's Gate?
It's a whole thing with Sirius, and there's all sorts of maneuvers and
Anything to do with Leo?
alignments happening.
Leo?
Yeah, so
Leo's a lion.
the sun is in Leo.
And we're now in Leo.
And
see, I'm learning astrology
You're learning. Yeah. And on the 8th, the sun and the moon will be together in Leo.
Oh, right.
So that's a new moon. And Leo is a beautiful, creative sign. It's
Fire.
a sign
Isn't
of
it fire? The
yeah.
same as Aries?
Mm-hmm. It's fire, but it's fixed fire.
What does
So
that
I
mean?
always like to see Aries as kind of the spark, the initial flame.
I'm a spark, I'm a bright spark.
The sparking of the match always wants to be first.
Yeah.
Quite competitive. And I often say to people, if they're going up a mountain and Aries is climbing the mountain, he'll be the first to shoot up the mountain without stopping.
Yeah.
And and the others will follow.
So
that's
what is fixed,
Aries,
fixed fire?
Aries fire.
Yeah.
Then the next fire is fixed fire, which is Leo, which is, the way I see it, is like a fire in a fire grate, where you've lit the fire. So Aries has lit the fire, and now it's in the fire grate, and you've got to tend it. As a friend of mine said years ago, she said, you have to tend the fire. You have to nurture the fire. And I think that's a little bit like our creative spark. It's there, but we've got to keep it going. We've got to keep it alive. And our life spark, that's our life spark. So that's the beautiful, warm, holding, creative fire that you find in the fire grate, which just burns beautifully. And that's the way I see creative fire. That's the new moon coming up on the 8th. So we thought we'd talk a bit about creativity, and it's also the theme of our Inner Space month, which we've just finished putting together, which is going to be really cool. It's called Creative Sovereignty.
Inner Space is our monthly online
Yeah.
platform, which anyone can join.
Yeah.
And it's just a month-to-month support platform. You know, we feel that at this time there's so much change and so much challenge and so much going on that we need a spiritual community.
Yeah.
And that's really what Inner Space is. It's a spiritual community. We meet up twice a month on Zoom, 90-minute call, and we have ongoing support. There's lovely journaling, creative exercises,
There's a journal,
and a meditation.
journaling stuff. There's a really nice creative exercise. There's
Yeah.
meditation. There's community stuff going on. So
And the theme for August is
creative sovereignty.
creative sovereignty. So we need to look at what is sovereignty.
Are we sovereign?
Yeah,
Or
sovereign.
are
I think
we-
there's a lot of
Are we getting our information and are we making our decisions from an outside influence, or are we making them from an internal knowing?
yeah.
So that's kind of creative sovereignty. So creativity itself, though, is a big subject, and I think it's a misunderstood subject, actually. So there's a couple of different parts to it.
Well, it means if you can't paint, you're not creative.
Nope.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think that's the first thing that people get confused about creativity, because I've done creativity workshops for 15 years or so, and a lot of people that have arrived at workshops have said, I'm not creative. And that's very quickly dispelled, actually, at a workshop, because we are all creative. We're born creative. The fact that you're breathing in and out, and you're wearing clothes, and you've chosen them, and you've chosen your house, and you've chosen your furnishings, and you choose every single minute of every day creatively.
Well,
Creatively is making something out of nothing.
the fact that you were born was a creative act. I mean,
Was
your
a
parents
creative
got
act.
together and did some
Yeah.
creating,
Yeah.
and you popped out 9 months later. So that's
Yeah.
a creative act. It's a creative act that actually got you into this world in the first
Yeah.
place. So yeah, you're born through creativity and into creativity.
You're born into it.
Yeah.
So you cannot not be creative. It's like saying I'm not alive.
Yeah.
Well, I think you are, if you're listening.
In fact,
So-
I think the word life and creativity are possibly
They are.
one and the same.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
reckon they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's all very aligned. So really we've got to look at what creativity actually means. What is creativity? Because a lot of the time people think it's art. You know, and my teacher in grade 1 said I couldn't draw, so therefore I'm not creative. Which isn't true. So you might not be a good drawer, but that doesn't mean that you're not creative, because you are creating in every single moment. And you're creating artistically as well. So each of us have got different ways of doing things. And it's not just about showing up at a canvas or making a sculpture. It's in every single thing we do. It's in our choice of clothes. It's in our choice of furnishings. It's in what we choose to cook, how we choose to prepare it, how we choose to serve it, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, one thing I love employing creative bookkeepers. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Creative accountants. I love them.
They're not easy to find.
Yeah, the creativity is expressed in many different ways in our lives. It can be, you know, the way you arrange your books, for example. It can be the way you garden. You know, gardening, cooking is another one. I know my sister, she's probably watching tonight, and she's very creative when it comes to sewing. Yeah,
something I
absolute
can't
passion about sewing, and that's her creative expression. So all of us have a different way of expressing our creativity.
Yeah, and very often there are perceived blocks to that because of conditioning, because of the stories we've told ourselves, or because of stories other people have told us. I remember being in early high school. I had a teacher, a sewing teacher actually, and she did not like me at all. And so everything I did, she just tore to pieces. And I remember she got us to make a little baby's dress. And I will never forget that thing. It was a pink baby's dress. And every single time I took it back, she pulled it apart until eventually the fabric was starting to tear. And I eventually got my mom to do it because she could sew really well, like Christine. And she tore that apart as well.
Oh,
so, but that can actually create a block. It created a block in me for a long time because I actually thought I can't sew. And it wasn't that. It wasn't that I couldn't sew. It was just that I had a block about it.
No, and you hadn't lived up
It was
to
a
her
perceived block
expectations.
that because she didn't think I could sew, or she didn't like me, or whatever it was, I couldn't sew.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to be looking at this month. So it's really to just see yourself as instinctively, inherently, as you are, a creative being. And that there's a lot of power that we have in our creativity.
So we have, you know, I mean, I know this is not totally true, but we have the left brain and we have the right brain. And it's been sort of thought that the left brain is the analytical, time-based process of information. It's what the world has worshipped for a long, long time, that sort of that intelligence that's sort of good at putting things into boxes, creating boxes and putting things into boxes, fitting things in labels. And that's the intelligence that the world has pretty much worshipped and actually paid quite highly to those people who are able to do that, you know, to get high scores in their IQ test. I think I failed my IQ test. I don't think I ever passed one. But that's one form of intelligence. And the other form of intelligence that we know, well, there's many forms, but the other one is represented more by the right brain. And that's the sort of intuitive, creative thinking outside the box, where the left brain is finding boxes, making boxes, and putting things into those boxes. And the right brain is actually jumping out of the box, thinking outside the box. And I believe that mankind is going through a fundamental shift at the moment, where the ability to earn money, which used to come from that logical, scheduling, programmed way of being, is actually being superseded now by creativity. And there's a very good reason for that, because AI is able to do that logical, sequential processing of information a lot better than humans, infinitely better than humans. And we're going to see that come through in the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And so that logic will be done by machine. But our true value then to add to the community will be through our creative essence. So I can see a great lifting in the value of the creative process.
And it's the ability to improvise, really. If you think about creativity, it's not linear. So I spent many years in advertising and coming up with creative concepts. That's what we did. And you couldn't have a finished idea. You could have sort of a brief, but then you let it evolve. And that's the same for any really creative project that you're doing. First of all, you access that right brain, which means that you get out of the left brain, which actually means that you become more playful, you become more present. So any of you will know, if you're doing what you really love, you will be fully present. You can sometimes 3-4 hours can go by and you don't even realize that the time's passed. That's when you know that you are completely creatively present. You're in the right brain. And that's the place where true creativity comes from.
Yeah.
It doesn't come from sitting planning it. I remember we often used to sit and say, we've got to come up with a concept, we've got to come up with a thing for tomorrow. And it wouldn't come because we were trying to find the answer, trying to find the idea, trying to find the concept. And it was when we stepped away, usually, or for me, it was on the morning that we were supposed to be presenting to the client in the shower. That's what used to happen. It would suddenly drop in, plunk, and it would be there. There would be the concept. Yeah. So you'd done the preamble, you'd done the preparation, and then you'd let it sort of percolate a bit. And then when it's ready, but you've got to get out the way. That's the thing. You have to get out the way to be creative.
Yeah.
To be, you are instinctively creative, but to actually show up in a full creative way, you've got to get yourself out the way. Your mind, mainly.
Yeah.
Not so.
Yeah, and that's a very important part, getting your mind out of the way. Now, the true power we have doesn't lie in the mind, believe it or not. The true power that we have comes from outside of the mind. If you think of the power of nature, nature doesn't do things in a logical, sequential way that we can try and work it out with mathematical models. But I don't think nature itself is that way inclined. And our left brain is very much controlled, it's very much being formed by society. So, the logical left brain thinking that we have, which kicks in probably at the age of 6 and 7, when we move from the theta, alpha into the beta. The beta is the logical side. And that is very much programmed from a very early age. It's programmed through our education. This is the way things are, and this is how you look at the world, and this is the parameters for success, and that's the parameters for failure. And that's really a programmed way of seeing reality. And we are controlled through that process. We are conditioned in our religious upbringing, in our socialization, through language, etc., etc. And that obviously keeps us controllable because, you're able to predict left brain logic. And so people become predictable. And that's a good society when people's behavior is predictable and controllable. And it works a lot through what's called false evidence appearing real, which is fear. The left brain is very much fear-driven. And society hasn't really honored the creative side, the right side of the brain, if you want to put it that way, because it's uncontrollable. Creative people are just not people you control.
No.
And in fact, the teachers didn't really like those type of children. And yet those are the ones that generally do better in the world after school. The more the maverick, the maverick type of
they step
person.
Out the box.
And I believe that we need to start honoring that creative side from a control point of view, from a stepping out of control point of view. In other words, our logical side of the brain is very much conditioned, and the creative side is unconditioned. And I believe our true power lies in that unconditioned part of ourselves. That's when we are in step with the universe, not in step with the powers that be on planet Earth. And that's an important decision to take, is to step out of the fear-based brain into your creative side. Now, I'm going to suggest that love is a very creative energy. When we are in love, we are infinitely more creative. When we're in fear, then we're very predictable. But when we're in love, we're not even predictable.
Which is actually interesting because in terms of the astrology, in terms of Leo rules the heart. It's actually all about love. And it also rules, it connects with creativity, procreation, co-creatorship. All of those things are actually lumped into the same thing. And it is love. The creativity comes from the heart, not the head. The head can help you technically to produce the thing. So, sculpture needs to balance. So use your head to actually work out how to do that, or what size you need to draw the thing or paint it. But the actual creative process comes from the heart, and it's not linear, and it's quite random. Actually, you can't grab it and give it
you can't.
Go, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, because you might have, in creative brainstorms, you'll have somebody throwing in a ridiculous idea where everybody will go, really? And then, funny enough, very often we definitely can't do that. But then it'll lead to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, and then eventually actually be integral to the finished idea. So it's kind of like throwing the rules away, being creative.
Yeah.
It's also being prepared to make mistakes.
Yeah.
So-called mistakes. They often there was a saying that said something about art is just a series of mistakes, because you have a little blups there, and then that, how do I fix that? And then you turn that around, and eventually that can actually become a beautiful, deep artwork, whether that's music, whether it's painting, whether it's dancing. A lot of things have been discovered by doing something wrong, and then, this is how we do it. And that becomes a new thing.
Even if you think of when we were children, learning to walk. We learn to walk by failing, by continually making mistakes and falling over.
Riding a bicycle.
Correct, is another one. So that's how we grow. That's how we grow. We grow through it. But that is stepping out of the controllable, predictable. So I believe that the transformation that we're going through as a species now is necessitating us to be more creative, to step out of the fear-based, controlled and controllable, predictable, logical mind, and align more with our true, authentic power, which comes in our creative power. That's our real power. And I think this is a very good time to make that shift. And I think the universe is supporting us, well, particularly this month, as you say, from an astrological point of view, to practice
to dust
this.
off that.
Yeah.
To do different things, take some chances, because I think that the way we're moving as a collective, obviously we're all hopefully waking up as a collective, But I think the way we're moving, we're going to have to be much more creative in the way we run our lives. Because I don't know how much we're going to be able to rely on the status quo and all the things that we thought were going to be secure. So we're going to have to be a lot more creative and think of ways of, think of ways of processing things in a different way, doing things in a different way that we haven't thought of before, being creative, thinking out the box. Okay, that doesn't work. What can we do that does work? So it's kind of being streetwise a little bit in a way. And I think as South Africans, I know there's obviously people here that aren't from South Africa or aren't in South Africa, but we're a race that kind of is that boer maak 'n plan kind of thing. And I think that's going to hold us in good stead.
It is.
Because we make a plan, we adapt. We're not too stuck on the old. Generally, South Africans will make a plan. Rhodesians, Zimbabweans, they make a plan. They're strong survivor people. And I think we have that.
And the reason is, I think, the European mind is very much more entrenched in that logical sort of boxed way of seeing reality, where Africa is very much more heart-centered. And this shift is really from the head into the heart. And there's a lot to be said for that African heart energy. And that's very good.
And it's pretty random. You can't control it much.
No. So that's, I think, the strength that we have. That's the strength we have in Africa.
I do think it is. And I think that's going to be, that's going to bode well for us in the future. Yeah. If we're too stuck on, it's got to be like this and it's got to be like that and I can't do this until that's sorted, we might be in trouble. Yeah,
well, I think we are in trouble.
So I think we need to be fluid, being able to move like those flames in a fire. Fire is hypnotic. Why is it hypnotic? Because it's always moving. It never stays still, not even for 1 millisecond. It moves and it flows and it moves and it grows and it wanes and it sparks and then another little spark comes. It's completely unpredictable, but it's always moving. And I think that's also something that really holds us in good, keep moving.
Yeah. And something you said earlier about creativity, and it really is important to get this, that your best ideas came to you in the shower. And what happens in the shower is we get out of the way. We go into what's called presence. And in that openness, something new flows through us. It doesn't come from a processing of information from the logical mind. That's not creative. And most of us spend an awful lot of time worrying about problems. And that's the brain trying to work it out in a logical way. And I'm going to suggest that worry sorts out absolutely nothing. That getting your awareness out of the mind, going into the state of presence, which you do very much through creative exercises. So if you have a particular problem, well, go and get stuck into the garden. Go and get your hands in the garden. Go and bake a cake or, wash a car or do something that's outside of the logical. And you find in that openness, when you clear your mind, the intelligence of life itself. Do you remember I said that life and creativity are one and the same? They are. So there's a creative intelligence that flows through us when we're present. It doesn't come from us. It flows through us. And we have to be open. In order to allow life to flow, we have to get out of the way. And another very important aspect of this is, another way of looking at creative power, is to realize that our thoughts are generally not our thoughts. Our thoughts come from our programming, from our history, from our conditioning. They come from other things outside of us. They come from our parents. They come from our authorities. They come from our religious leaders. And they come from the media. And all of that has a certain agenda. They have their agenda and they're using their means of control, which is the feeding of the left brain, to actually get us to act in a certain way. And that isn't our power. That is disempowerment. And in order to take back our power is to step out of that control by the brain. So in the creative process, you have the insight. You then use the brain to bring it into fruition into form in a logical way. But you are using the mind. And unfortunately, other people have discovered how to use your mind to get what they want. And the only way out of that matrix, a matrix of control, is to come into the power of presence, into the power of no mind, which you are at when you are showering, when you are doing something creative. Become far more present. And in that time, you are empowered to choose your very own thoughts. Instead of them being fed to you by the media or by authority outside of yourself, you, from that creative power that you have, you then create your own thoughts. And it's really, really important to realize the power that we have in creating our own thoughts. Because the very reality that we live in is made of bricks. And those bricks are our thoughts and our feelings. And when you are in charge of your thoughts and your feelings, when you are creatively expressing this uniqueness of yourself through your own thoughts and your own feelings, and they're not given to you from outside, you are then free. You're then empowered to create a new reality. We have immense power within us to create a new reality. And the moment we take back the power from the world of conditioning and start being the creative expression of the divine in this realm, by choosing the thoughts we want to think and the feelings we want to feel, we will then create a new world, the world we want, not the world that we don't want. So it's not a case of fighting the old world. I don't think when you resist something, it persists. You're giving energy to what you don't want. And if you just think of your own thinking process in the day, let's say we think between 40 and 70,000 thoughts a day. I don't know who counted them, but someone did. And how many of those thoughts are the thoughts that you are consciously bringing into manifestation to create the world that you want? And how many of those thoughts are pushing against what you don't want? How many of those thoughts are invested in the world that you don't want? And how many you are creatively building a new world that you want? And the power behind thoughts is the feeling that we give to the thoughts. The power is in feeling. And to choose your own feelings. Instead of letting the television set dictate how you're feeling, you start to create your own feelings. And that then is true, authentic power, true sovereign power. And you're taking back the power from your conditioned world, and you're inviting the unconditioned world through yourself, and through that you create a new earth. And we have immense power within us, immense power to create a new earth. So that's another way of working with the creative power that we have, the power to choose our thoughts and the power to choose our feelings. And one of the very, very powerful exercise to do in that is the power of affirmations, working with affirmations.
I think we don't realize how powerful our thoughts are and what we say. And I think a lot of the time we don't realize what we're saying. So a lot of our time is the more time that we're spending in the future or the past, the less power we have to actually create what we want to create in this moment. So if we've got 100 circuits of energy coming in, let's just say in the morning, every single morning, and we're spending 50% or 60% of that energy worrying about the future, feeling like good citizens because we're worrying about the future, well, and maybe 20% or 30% in the past, we've got very little fuel to fuel that fire. So it's really, really important that we bring ourselves into now, because this is where the power is, not tomorrow and not yesterday. So it's to actually really, it's like to train ourselves. It's to train our minds back. It's to, as John said, to choose. Do I want to feel this? Do I want to go here with my mind? I can, because we're incredibly creative all the time. And if you doubt how creative you are, just write down the stories that you tell yourself about what could happen in the future or what's happened in the past. We could all be novel writers. We're so creative. In terms of what we're imagining in the future, we're imagining a future which isn't here.
You can actually write a book about what you think about at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely.
You know,
this
when
could
you wake
happen,
up,
and then, oh my goodness, then that's going to happen.
You can write a whole
book.
book.
It would be a bestseller.
It would be
so
a thriller or a horror movie.
Yeah.
A horror book.
Yeah, horror story. So if we're focusing on that, that is what we're creating, because we're sending that out into the field. So it's just to be cognizant of that every single thing we think we're putting into the field, that then becomes a reality because it feeds into the field. And then that becomes the collective, and then that becomes our reality. So if we want to shift something outside creatively, it's to actually put different thoughts into the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you find yourself often saying, I'm sick, or I'm tired, or I can't deal with this anymore, or I'm anxious, or I can't
depressed.
stand this, or I'm depressed. I'm sick is another one. I'm sick with X, Y, Z, and then your whole sort of life becomes consumed with that illness, with that pain. That's what's feeding into your future. You're not going to create health like that, or abundance. If we're constantly saying I've got no money, money doesn't flow to me. Have you ever noticed that people who don't have that as a thought in their heads, they're just abundant?
Yeah.
I had a friend once who was born into quite a wealthy family, and I sort of said to her, yeah, you always seem to have money, but it wasn't from her family that she had the money. And she said, because I expect to. I don't have any issue with it. I have no belief, there's no belief in me that I will be lacking of money. She had other stuff going on, but money wasn't one of them. And because of that, money flowed into her life because she just had this belief that it would.
And that's the power, that's the creative power within us. We have the power. Whatever we believe is true, it actually is for us. Yeah. I mean, there was a whole lot of experiments done on people who believed themselves to be lucky and people who experienced themselves to be, or thought themselves as unlucky. And they did, tests on that, and they found, if you believe you're lucky, well, you are lucky, and if you believe you're not, and they swapped test results around, and they told the group who thought they weren't lucky, no, you really are very, very lucky, my goodness me. And suddenly they became lucky because they believed they were lucky. So we have, I say one of the greatest discoveries we're going to really make in the next couple of years is that we're making it all up. That we have so much power in our thoughts and our emotions that we are physically, moment to moment to moment, creating our experience and creating the physical world around us. We know from quantum physics that everything, I think 7.8 times a second disappears. Your body physically disappears 7.8 times a second, and then it reappears back in the way it looked before, not because of a continuity in the material world, but because of a continuity in the energetic imprint, in the pattern. And that pattern, that energetic imprint, is mind. So because our mind perpetuates patterns, physical reality keeps on showing up in a certain way. And this is known. So if you educate people in a certain way, you will maintain the status quo because of those belief patterns. Yeah. And this is where the creative power comes in. You're stepping out of the momentum of the past pushing you into future, and you start creating a new future for yourself from the present moment. And then as the particles reappear in the present moment again, because the field is changing with your creative thinking and your creative feeling, they start showing up differently in your life. Patterns start changing in your life. And that's the power that we need to access right now. The power of our creative being, if you want to put it that way. Yeah. It is, the human side is conditional, but the being side is unconditional. And it's through our being side that we can be truly, truly, truly creative, and we can be creative powers in this world.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it brings us back. I don't know, that's what I find. It brings us back to what's real.
It's interesting you say bringing us back, because this is a journey back into who we really are. We are the being. We are life. That's who we are. We don't have a life. We are life. We give our body life. We animate our body. The body doesn't give us life. We animate our body with life. And this journey that we're on right now is a journey back, as Michelle said, back into empowerment, back into the power of our heart, the power of love, the power of energy, the power to create, the creative power that we have. And it all comes to us through the power of presence, not the power of time, not past and not future. They disempower us. They keep us stuck in the matrix. Our true liberation comes through the power of presence. And we mentioned earlier about affirmations, and a very, very powerful affirmation to use at this time is, my point of power is in the present moment.
It really works.
And we can change everything. You can change the weather. You can change global warming. You can change your bank account. You can change your mother-in-law. How about that? You can change everything if you change your perception. If you change your thinking and you change your feelings, you change physical reality. That isn't something they teach you at university. It's not something they taught you at school. But that is the absolute truth. That's our authentic power.
Mm. And I think that the more time that we can spend doing things that we love, doing things that inspire us, the more we actually go into that place, whatever that is for you, whether it's spending time in nature, whether it's picking flowers, whether it's playing with a child, that really works.
You should have seen Michelle yesterday playing with the granddaughter.
Yeah.
She came in and you were doing creative stuff with her yesterday. What were you doing?
Play.
Play.
And then swinging on a tree, and it was lovely.
But playing with the clay was really
playing
beautiful.
With clay, and it brings you in, because what happens is you start to see the world through that child's eyes. And that is coming home. It's coming back to who we really are. Before we have all our conditioned thoughts about ourselves and what we should do and what we shouldn't do, before the rules started coming in. But back to those times when you could draw a little box with a little triangle on the top and a little circle in it, and say that's a house. And you loved it because there was no judgment.
Yeah.
It was just, that's how you created. That's what you did. There was no looking at it and saying that's ugly or wrong. The judgment started coming in later when there was competition, and the teacher or somebody would say, oh, but look, yours isn't as good as that one. So then the judgment starts to come in. But before that judgment starts to come in, there's just this innocent, beautiful, creative spirit.
Playful.
It's a playful, creative
joyful,
spirit.
Yeah,
and the more we can get back to playfulness and joyfulness, as John often mentions, joy. Playfulness and joy go hand in hand. It's difficult to really play without feeling joy.
Yeah.
And how often do we really feel joy as adults?
Yeah.
Because life is so serious. It's all about work, and it's about paying the bills, and it's about worrying about the future and worrying about your children and worrying about when you're going to get sick. Children aren't in that state. So if we can just harness some of that by coming back into that place, into a playful place, when else did you put some music on and just dance around the room like a mad person? Why not? Why do we stop playing? I've often asked that question. When did you stop playing, and why? Why? Why do we stop playing when we're adults?
Because we've conditioned to be responsible.
Yeah.
And it's not responsible to play. How will the bills get paid if I
Meanwhile,
play?
actually, if you play, you'll probably do even better with all the other stuff that you've got to do, because your tanks will be full.
Yeah.
You'll have more to give everybody. You'll have more energy, because your creative fire will be flaming. It'll be burning. It'll be sparking, as opposed to just sort of dying because you're so overburdened with responsibilities that you're not tending that little fire, that flame. So I think this month, why not just put some effort into, not effort actually, just have some fun with relighting your creative fire. What makes you feel like a child? And do that. Why not?
What opens you up to joy?
Yeah.
If you can understand it this way, that there are fields of controlling energy around us. You just have to look at the media and the governments. There are fields of almost like evil energy. When I use the word evil, I mean it to mean unconscious energy, controlling energy. And what is kryptonite to that energy is joy. Absolutely. It completely dissipates that controlling energy. You can't control a joyful child. It's just not going to happen. You can't control a joyful adult either. Okay. And I believe part of the control process is to eliminate joy. Don't dance, don't go and enjoy yourself. And that's a controlling energy. And so I think to counteract that, the medicine we need to take right now is joy. And if you think of what joy does to your immune system, those of you worried about getting a flu or something, so if you bring joy into your awareness, boy, your immune system goes up. So I think we have a responsibility to ourselves and to the future of our children and grandchildren to feed the matrix with joy right now.
Absolutely.
Because that dissipates the darkness. It dissipates the forces of darkness, if you want to put it that way, and ignites the fire of love. So to bring that joy into everything that you do, every moment of every day, if we start to feed that fire of joy, boy, we will ignite something so powerful that will change this world in really amazing, miraculous ways. That's the power of creativity that we have within us.
Yeah.
And it is a responsibility. It's responsible to be joyful. It's responsible to feel good.
Yes, it is.
There we are. So take some
responsible.
Yeah, you know, we've been programmed. It's responsible to worry. No. That isn't responsible. That is programmed thought. So our real ability to respond, to be responsible, is to respond with joy, to respond with love, to respond with enthusiasm to life. That dissipates the darkness like absolute magic. It's only a phantom. The darkness is not real. Darkness has no power. If you put on the light, where's the darkness? You never see darkness fighting a light. You can't. It doesn't have any power. So the power we have within us is our creative power to choose our thoughts, to choose our feelings. And the feeling of joy, spontaneity, play is our responsibility to do at these times as we're going through. And to know that all of that comes through the portal of presence. The more present you are in life, the more open you are to creativity, to joy, to love, to laughter, and to play.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And talking of all of that, we have, so we spoke earlier about our Inner Space platform, which is a good platform to go on. There's some lovely, fun, creative stuff to do this month on Inner Space. But we're also starting our another 13-week journey.
On the 16th of August.
On the 16th of August. That's a 13 transformational
There's a couple of weeks
course.
Yeah,
yes. That's very good. And you can do the first week there free of charge. Just go on to our website, journeysofawakening.com, and register for that. And you get the first week absolutely no charge. You can just stay for the first week and then leave. And
it's called
then
Life Vision Week.
Life Vision, yeah. Life Vision. And then at just another plug while we're doing advertising here. We have an away retreat, our most favorite retreat of the year is in Hogsback. We were supposed to do it last month, and because of the lockdown, we couldn't. And it is now scheduled for the 27th to the 31st of August. And it is 5 days in heaven. Hogsback is it's in the most beautiful part of South Africa.
Playing in paradise.
There we go.
I think we'll call it that.
Yeah, playing in paradise. Very powerful
lots
portal.
Of playing, lots of art, lots of time in nature, lots of
and there is
sitting by the fire.
There's a very creative energy there in that part of the world.
Yeah.
Very open. It's a magical part of the world.
So if you want to treat yourself, treat your inner child,
then do a retreat.
Join us.
Do a retreat.
Come and retreat.
And come retreat with us. Yeah, we've got a few open places there still. Yeah. So thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to ask Michelle now to do a beautiful centering meditation. And then we're going to give you an affirmation for the week ahead.
Okay, thanks everyone. All right, let's just get ourselves comfy. Take a nice deep breath in. And a relaxing breath out. And another deep breath in. And on the out breath, just let it all out. And now just bring awareness to your breath as it flows in and flows out without any effort. Just becoming aware of the sounds in the room, the sound of your breath, feelings that you feel in your body. Just settling into this moment. I'd like you to imagine or think back, reflect back on a time as recently as you like, a time where you felt joy, where you felt that you're in the vibration of fun or play or joy. You may have been doing something creative. You may have been playing with a child. You may have been in nature. You may have been with your pets, your loved ones. Just connect with a time where you were in a playful, joyful, light state. Once you have that recollection, make that as vivid as you can. Recall where you were, what time of day it was. Maybe you can remember what you were wearing, who was around you, the smells, the tastes, the sights. See if you can really make this memory real for yourself. And as you remember this memory, feel what you feel in your body. Feel where you feel it in your body. Where do you feel that? And now intentionally expand that feeling. You might connect with the color that you feel when you feel in a state of joy. If you have a color, extend that color out all the way through your body, possibly from your heart. Allow it to just keep expanding out and out and out and growing, flowing into every cell, every organ, every bone, every hair follicle, every single part of your body. Allow this vibration, this feeling, this sensation of joy to flow through you. Allow it to flow out of you now with no effort. So it flows into the field around you, in the room. And it will naturally just keep on flowing. Allow this flame to grow. Allow this beautiful, joyful feeling. Allow yourself to feel it. It's there. If it starts to fade, recall that memory again. Recall exactly what it is that made you feel that welling up of joy. And as you do this, just become aware that you can change what you think. You can change how you feel. It's our power to change our emotional state if we so choose. And by growing this positive, beautiful, vibrant, colorful, joyful state, we become more powerful. Our inner flame flames and burns more brightly. It lights up other people. It helps us to navigate challenges in a less heavy way. It shines our light. So just allow that beautiful light now to shine out of you. Feel what it feels like to just be in the presence of your own light. Your own true creative power, which is inside you always. Just waiting to be kindled, just waiting to be tended like that little flame in the fire. Maybe a little bit of blowing, a little bit of gentle maneuvering. that it sparks, catches, lights everything up. Now take a deep breath in and out. And set an intention this week to keep this flame alive by doing whatever you do to inspire yourself. Maybe by inspiring others, maybe by taking some time to do something creative, something playful. Set that intention now, that this is the week that you're going to do this. It's a very powerful week to do this. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes.
That was beautiful. Wasn't that lovely? It's a lovely vibration and frequency to go to bed and start a new week with. I'm talking of next week. So we mentioned about our new inner space, which is about creativity and sovereignty. And we have our first Zoom meetup for this month. That'll be on Tuesday night.
Good.
Yeah, so, and you register on journeysofawakening.com if you want to
It's
join.
going to really be a lovely
Yeah.
month. It's such fun.
It is, you can register there. And the other bit of news is that we have a new Facebook page. We have Journeys of Awakening.
Yes.
And if you could go on and find that and like it, because we're going to be switching these satsangs across to that page probably in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, either a week or two. We'll just
We'll
start
have a look.
setting it all up.
But you do need to be notified. So just go onto Journeys of Awakening Facebook page and just like that page so that you get our notifications, because that is a business page and we're going to switch away from our personal page to the business page, because apparently you get a bigger reach on a business page than you do on a personal
Or
page.
something.
And if you can help us spread the message here by pressing right now the share button. If you can just press the share button and share it onto your timeline, and that will then get this light out there a little bit more. So thank you for being with us tonight. And we've got an affirmation for you. So let's just see what this week's affirmation is. Do you want to choose a card? Choose a yellow.
Okay. I surrender now completely to all that this moment contains.
And that leads you into the present moment, which is the portal into creative energy, and allows intuition to flow through you. And I promise you, the intuitive intelligence that you can channel is way more intelligent than that left brain worrying mind of yours. So the affirmation is, I surrender now completely to all that this moment contains. So I'll just photograph that and put that up on the Facebook page. And we look forward to seeing you on Tuesday night, if not, then next Sunday night for Satsang. Lots. Have a wonderful, beautiful, blessed and creative week ahead.
Thanks everyone. Love you lots.
Nighty night. Nighty night.